Welcome to the Church Explained podcast, a conversation to grow your leadership and build your church. Today, we've got a very special guest. We have the lead pastor, Paul Benger from IKON Church, which is the church we belong to. And we're going to talk around this idea of how to have a great Vision Sunday. This is a two-part podcast. The following one will be how to take up a great vision offering. But today we're going to look at some of the nuts and bolts on what that means to have a great Vision Sunday. Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Nathan.
We're the hosts of the Church Explained podcast, and today we're really excited to have Paul Benger back on the show again. Paul, it's been a little while.
He's back.
So welcome back, Paul. Paul is the lead pastor of IKON Church, multi-site church, which we're part of here. So we're happy for that really today, aren't we?
Yeah, we'll get our £5 later.
We'll get our money later.
Yeah.
But also, Paul, you're the leader of the Ground Level Network, which is around 80 churches in the UK and also expanding into Europe. Yeah. So fantastic, and doing a great job there as well with the Ground Level Network.
Thank you.
Yeah. So welcome to the show.
Yeah, why don't you, Paul, tell us something about yourself since the last time you were on the podcast?
Well, since the last time I was on the podcast, Jeannie and I have got a couple of new grandchildren.
Wow.
And seeing as we're recording this a little while before Christmas, we are starting to think that Christmas will be more expensive.
Okay. So, that's going to cost you a lot of money this year, isn't it?
Yes.
We'll say no more. Yeah. Hey, so in this show, we're going to talk about Vision Sundays and how to have a great Vision Sunday. So we want to talk around that. And maybe some of that language will be new for some of the listeners today. What is a Vision Sunday? What does it mean? We really want this to be almost like a nuts and bolts conversation on this podcast and on the following one, just talking around Vision Sundays and vision offerings. How does that sound?
Sounds great, yeah.
All right, so we've got a few questions for you.
Yeah.
Nathan's got the first one for us.
We can discuss around this, but each year at IKON Church we have a Vision Sunday, and it's kind of like the first question is why? Why do we have a Vision Sunday?
And what is it, I suppose?
Yeah. So we just set a Sunday, normally February or March for us, where we just get a sense, bring a sense to the whole church of where we're headed, where we're going. And that, we are a church with vision. We are a church that wants to keep progressing and moving forward. And so we feel to have a Sunday where we highlight the things we want to achieve, I guess, in the year ahead, or where we want to go, what we feel God is saying, without getting too spiritual about that, but what are we focused on in this moment? Because church is very broad, isn't it? And there's lots of stuff we do in church, but I think it's great to be able to say we feel we should focus on this in this moment, this year ahead. So this is our vision. These are the things we're believing God for in this moment, in this season.
Yeah, and it helps us clarify the win. And here's what we're going to. In my short time in church life, which is 35 years, and that's how old I am. And I like to say to young people, I've been in more church services than you've ever been in altogether in a youth meeting. But there can be loads of different messages that come about, loads of different words from God, but a Vision Sunday helps us as a church to focus and clarify, this is where we're going, and this is our focus, this is what we're wanting to achieve, this is what we're believing God for, and it helps the church unite around that as well.
I think one thing we don't always appreciate is that vision leaks. And that we think because we said this is our vision as a church 5 years ago, we think everybody's remembered it, or we said it last year, everybody's remembered it. So it's an opportunity, like you say, to clarify the win, to clarify some of those big things that we're believing for, but also then to drill down to, in this moment, we're focused here.
Yeah.
Great answer to that, Paul. So just thinking of the idea of a Vision Sunday and also like the overall vision of a church, is that different for people? As people may be thinking, are you setting a brand new vision every year? What's happening there each time we come to that?
Well, I hope nobody's thinking of setting a brand new vision every
well, let's hope not.
Every year. If I take IKON Church as an example, we say that our vision and mission are these things. Our vision is human flourishing.
Yeah.
We want people to do well in life. That is always going to be our vision. We want people to flourish in life, and the way we achieve that is through our mission, which is building relevant contemporary churches. We think that the only thing Jesus is building is his church, the only thing. You're not building anything else but his church, and so we want to join him in that. We want to reach people with the message of Jesus, see people come to faith, reach them with the message of God's kingdom, and then empower them to lead and influence in every sphere of life. So that's the vision. Kind of that encompasses the vision. That will never change. That is the vision. But the yearly Vision Sunday is what inside of that. What are the details inside of that we're really tapping into in this moment?
Yeah, and so that's the answer for that, really. It's that sort of, going back to your point earlier, Nathan, it's that clarifying the when, isn't it? And clarifying where we're going. So do you think by doing that then, does it prevent churches from, having a sort of division, in their sort of vision, that sort of language? What's your thinking on that?
It helps you clarify, it helps you restate, and also, steer that commitment and conviction again. This is our vision, it's a good vision, and helps you do that. And also it keeps people, potentially, and keeps people and the church in the same place. I really believe, in the Bible talks about unity. It talks about God's blessing being in a place of unity, Psalm 133, isn't it? And one of the challenges and problems I think I see in many churches, and I've in my own church I've seen it, is when suddenly we've got 10 visions and not one vision. And so for us, everything we do has to lead towards building the church. Everything we do has to lead towards reaching people. Everything we do has to lead towards empowering people, which ultimately leads to people flourishing.
And I guess just thinking of that Vision Sunday every year in the rhythm of the church, it sort of helps to include new people as they come through to join in that vision, doesn't it? So it's around lots of people rather than just a few.
It just allows that to broaden out, and as you say, new people love it, and they just love the sense that you get that weekend, that Sunday, to talk about this is the vision of the church, broad, but this is the vision of the moment that we're in.
I think you said a few things like clarity brings clarity, unity. I think they're some of the key things for leaders to think about. This is why we do it. It creates clarity and unity. But I guess for many church leaders who have vision, you have a lot that you want to achieve, and sometimes that you could be it easily could you could want to share everything. So how should leaders communicate vision on a Vision Sunday?
Well, I've got a few things here, and these are from Andy Stanley, so I've just adopted them because I think he's the clearest on some of this stuff. And so he said, first of all, state it simply. It's why for us, we over the years have just kept drilling down our vision statement to two words: human flourishing. State it simply. We want people to flourish in every area of life. Cast it convincingly. And I think what that means for me is I've got to have a conviction about it. This is what God has called us to do. Hey, this is a good thing. We're convinced about this. And you should serve this vision. You should you should give to this vision because it's a God vision. It's not something I've made up. So you cast it with confidence and conviction, convincingly. Repeat it regularly. And we have a Vision Sunday, but don't let that be the only time that you talk about your vision.
That, isn't it?
You've got to keep all the time. And we, as we're going to talk about in the next podcast, we don't just have Vision Sunday, but we have a vision offering. But throughout the year, you will hear, this is our vision, this is our mission as a church. You will hear people who come to IKON Church. I would imagine you don't have to be here too long before you know this is the vision of this church. Celebrate it systematically. So, Vision Sunday is a Sunday to celebrate our vision.
Yeah.
We get to tell stories about, here's what the vision's done. Vision Offering Sunday is another system where we get to celebrate. We've just done Vision Offering Sunday here, and I told in the message maybe 6 stories that are, those stories only happen because we've got a vision.
Yeah.
So that's a celebration. And in a couple of weeks, we will announce how much has been given in the vision offering. That will be a celebration. We've done party poppers and different things in the past. We'll have some stuff on the screens and some music. But it'll be a moment of celebration.
Yeah.
Whatever was given, we'll be thanking God. And so we're celebrating again the vision, and not just what's been given. So state it simply, cast it convincingly, repeat it regularly, celebrate it systematically, and then finally embrace it personally. A leader, to be convinced, you've got to be heart and soul in the vision. You've got to know this is what I really believe God wants, and therefore I embrace it. My family embraces it as much as we're able personally.
And I guess going back to what my thinking of, for many leaders, you have so much vision to do those 5 things. You can't share everything, because otherwise it won't be simple. Which part are you trying to focus on? Which part are we going to repeat? Which part are we going to, so it's actually, taking that vision and going, okay, where does God want us to focus this year? Where is the focus for that? And that we're able to do that in communicating the vision.
And just a live example is obviously we've just done Vision Offering, which is one of our vision weekends, and coming out of the pandemic and all without going into all that detail, our stating it simply is, Vision Offering is about us keeping the vision moving forward. So our simple statement has been, we want to keep moving forward. So keep going forward. And our church has picked up on that. They get that sense, we want to progress, we want to keep moving forward, we want to grow strength. If we've lost momentum, we want to gather momentum again. We just want to keep moving forward. And so we've stated that, quite simply, and then within that there are specifics that we're working on.
And I suppose just thinking of that, keeping the momentum and keeping it moving forward, that's what those Sundays allow us to do, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Because we've got them built into the rhythm of the church. Therefore we know it's going to help us create that momentum, and helps, I suppose, even helps us as leaders, and helps the church, helps us to focus on something rather than focus on nothing. Because a lot of churches, they will have a vision or a vision statement, it'll stay on the wall somewhere, but actually it's never outworked in the rhythm of the church. And I think just to have that, I think, and that little framework there, those 5 things are brilliant. Really.
Fantastic.
And any church or leader could use those, couldn't they, really?
And I guess they'll be in the show notes as well.
They'll definitely be in the show notes.
They'll definitely be in the show notes down low.
And we'll make it easy for people as well. So listen, obviously we're talking about vision. There's some challenges sometimes in sharing vision, isn't there? What would you say the top challenges that you've encountered, or even church leaders encounter, when it comes to sharing vision?
It's a great question, and I would say that some church leaders I've spoken to don't do a Vision Sunday because of the challenges, or they tried it and then in year 2 or year 3 they hit some challenges and felt we've got to draw back. But the ones that stick out to me is the fact, and this might be personal, is that your vision doesn't change. Your big vision is the same.
The human flourishing, the strong line.
Human flourishing. You're want to build the church. You're reaching people with them. That's big. And so you can get bored with the sense of, I'm saying the same thing again. But here's one thing. When we get bored, the people are just starting to get interested.
That's what they say, isn't it?
Well, marketing. If we take marketing, it takes you. You've got to see a piece of marketing 10 times before you actually recognize it in the future.
That's right.
So when as leaders, we'll be sharing the vision in multiple settings, but a person might only be in one of those settings.
And I hope this helps some leaders maybe listening, or anybody really, that when you feel, I'm saying the same thing again, when you feel that little whatever depressed feeling about I'm saying the same thing again, that's good. Because when you're saying the same thing again, nobody in your congregation is thinking that. Nobody in your congregation is thinking, I've heard this all before. They're actually, it's an opportunity for them to be refired.
Yeah.
Because so boredom, I think, can be
and I guess just picking up on that momentum we've talked about.
Yeah.
We're always thinking about new people coming in. So for those people, like a leader may have said vision so many times, but that new person's never heard of it.
No.
It's their first week in church,
No,
have they?
No.
So I think you're right on that. Even if you feel bored, say it. Say it again and again and again. Repeat it, because that's the thing that helps it really stick long term, isn't it?
Yeah, and do it with conviction as well.
Yeah.
Get past that and do it with conviction. The second thing I would say on that challenge is when a vision loses momentum. So churches not everything is always up and to the right in church life. You can have opposition, you can have challenge, you can have persecution. If people who listen to this in parts of the world, you're suffering persecution. Church looks very different maybe today than it did a year ago or 5 years ago. People can, churches go through seasons, don't they? And I think sometimes that's a massive challenge. But I've overcome that by thinking the vision is what God wants. So whatever's happening, you go back to what did God say? What does God want? What's the call and vision on your life? I think another challenge is the fact that sometimes we don't like planning and preparation. We kind of just want the Holy Spirit to turn up and do everything for us.
We want the quick fix, or the silver bullet, as they say.
But I think having a good Vision Sunday does require planning and preparation. I think that's the key. And then the last thing I would say is sometimes fear. What if it doesn't happen? What if I say our vision is to do X, Y, and Z, and we don't achieve it? And that fear stops us. And I think that is a challenge for many leaders, and that's why we encourage leaders to build a culture of experimentation, build a culture of we're having a go. We're just trying to follow God, and actually build a culture of we will fail at some things, we will get some things wrong, but we're always going to keep moving forward. So
and going back to the first part, we talked about vision, obviously creating momentum and maybe even building faith. That fear element, actually, for leaders, that's a moment where you build your own faith. It's a moment where you stretch yourself, you stretch your own leadership, or you step out on the water yourself, and it's a moment where you have to rely on God, because for if we don't have that vision that maybe even scares us, we can sometimes just live in the comfort zone, and we'll just settle for what's happening rather than pushing the vision forward. And I think that's just important to realize for many leaders, that there is going to be a moment where you fear. You're scared.
I always ask for a gift of faith.
And
when it comes to either Vision Sunday, sometimes Vision Sunday less so, but certainly Vision Offering. I sometimes ask for a gift of faith for what God wants us to believe for. And
I think there's something in there about, you used the phrase there, that word experimental. Just open that up a little bit more for us, because obviously some churches may not be used to thinking, let's have a go at something. What would you say into that?
Well, I mean, one example I can give, we're a multi-campus church, as you said. We've now got 6 campuses, but we've tried other initiatives to start campuses or to start services, and they've not really taken off, and so we've had to pull them back, stop them, and step back from them. But we've never felt we had to beat ourselves up, and so anybody, I would hope, in our church doesn't feel like they failed in that, because we were having a go, we were experimenting, we were trying something. And I think even when we've tried and then we've stepped back from that trial, we've always learned.
Yeah.
So it was never a failure. It was a learning curve for us. Sometimes it was a learning curve. Maybe I'm not sure we heard God.
Yeah.
At other times it was a learning curve that, well, maybe God wanted to prepare us for something else. I once said in a message, which a friend of mine keeps reminding me of, I once said, if this is not the thing, it could be the thing that leads to the thing.
It's a great phrase, that.
Yeah. So, and it's almost like nothing is wasted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Nothing is wasted. And so you've got to have that sense. Don't beat yourself up. Even as an individual, you
Yeah.
might have stepped out and things might have not worked out.
Yeah, and even as a leader, maybe
Yeah.
a leader stepped
Yeah.
out and
Yeah.
it hasn't worked out as they anticipated. And sometimes
Yeah.
leaders can almost beat themselves up or
Yeah, totally.
have a little bit of a pity party or
Yeah.
worry about what will the church think.
Yeah.
And just thinking of what you were saying there, I suppose that's building that into the life of the church, isn't
Yeah.
it? Because
Yeah.
not just the idea of leaders need to experiment, but actually the church needs to be willing to
Yeah.
say, we're going to have a go at this. We're gonna, this may work, it may not work, but actually that's part of building that into the culture as well, isn't it?
Totally. And you want to have a culture where yes, you can be disappointed, but also you can laugh.
Yeah,
You can
exactly.
say, well, we didn't do that very well.
Yeah.
Let's learn from it.
Not taking yourselves too seriously.
seriously.
As someone
Yeah.
once said, seriousness isn't a part of the fruit of the spirit, is it? And I
Yeah,
think
that's
that's
true.
true.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a great phrase.
Yeah, great. So, just getting into we said the nuts and bolts. So how should leaders listening to this share the vision? How should they do a vision Sunday?
Oh, okay, so the nuts and bolts for me would be, first of all, pick a date and a time, and then draw up a plan. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to do it on that Sunday, make sure you know when holidays are.
That's important, not in it, really.
Yeah. Anyway, but pick a date, time, and start to plan. Focus on what's in the leader's heart. So in the leader and the leadership team, what's in your heart at this moment? Because even though the vision doesn't change, the emphasis can shift from moment to moment,
definitely.
season to season. I don't think that emphasis should shift every week, but what's in the leader's heart in that moment? What's God put there? Strategically build momentum. In the life of the church, Vision Sundays coming, we'll start to announce that 4 weeks out, we're going to share the vision, we're going to share what's on our heart for the year ahead, what we want to see happen, what we want to try.
We also have a rhythm now,
Yeah.
because we've built it into the church, that then people expect that's coming.
Yeah.
They know that's coming.
They know February, March, there's going to be a Vision
And
Sunday.
that's because, going back to you, we've picked a date and a time, and usually every year it's the similar time.
Yeah. And the only time it changes is if the calendar shifts or stuff's happening.
And again, just picking up on that a little bit, if you step back on that, then obviously you've got stuff like where you're chatting that through with your leaders first.
Yeah.
Just maybe a staff retreat, something like that, and then
Yeah.
you're doing the work. So it's although we may announce it 4 weeks in their service, but
Well,
actually work's been done much more beforehand, hasn't it?
Yeah, much beforehand. And we're working on stuff now that
Yeah.
we will announce next February, March. That we're wanting to build into the life of the church. Give thanks for what God has done.
Brilliant.
I think you want to, on a Vision Sunday, stand up and say, look what God has done.
Yeah.
And tell those
Share those stories you were
stories.
saying,
Get somebody
yeah.
to share testimony. Highlight some ministry that's been successful in the life of the church. I remember one year. We put a photo up of a guy from our Derby campus, Macaulay, and we put that across everywhere, and we just said, we want you to meet Macaulay, and we just told people about this guy and the fact that, across the life of church, he was like a beast when it came to serving. He was on so many teams. Well, we celebrated Macaulay, but we also told his story of coming to faith in Christ and everything else. So give thanks for what God has done. Include something new, something different, something special. Make the day a little bit different, a bit special. Include something new. Often our creative team will create something. They might write a song. So I think it was 4 years ago, we did a series called We Risk the Ocean, and they wrote a song called We Risk the Ocean, and we're still singing that song today on sort of Vision Days and stuff, because it was so good. You can turn your Vision Sunday, like I've just mentioned, into a series. So that year, We Risk the Ocean, that was a 4-week series, and we did 4 weeks building up to week 4 is Vision Sunday. On that, give people something to take away. Often we've produced a booklet just around some of the thoughts, some of the ideas, and people have appreciated that. Other years we've produced an annual report and said, here's an annual report of all our numbers from the year before, but just give them something to take away. Like I've said, tell story, keep the vision alive, include lots of people. I think don't just stand up there as the lead pastor or the senior pastor, but include lots of people, because the vision, we've pinched a phrase, I guess, from a church called Hillsong, that the pastor says the great churches are not built on the gifts and talents of a few, but a sacrifice of many. And so that's include lots of people, and then include a clear call for commitment. So, the vision's great, but we're not just showing you a movie. We're giving you something that you can put your life into, that you can serve, that you can give, that you can be involved in. That next year when we tell stories, it's because you've contributed, you've been involved at some level.
And there's something powerful about that. And, of just calling that commitment from people. And by and large, I think people want that. They want to commit themselves to something, don't they? And so just to draw that out and get people to commit to, the vision, whether it's praying or giving or thinking of the vision offering. And because we here at IKON Church, we have a bit of a time difference between the vision day and the vision offering, which we'll get to in our next podcast. But it is an important one, that, because it gives people time then to commit, not only to pray, but to give, to save, or whatever. It's that sort of commitment level on their side as well.
So we do February, March for Vision Sunday, October for giving, and so part of the call for commitment is, here's how you can get involved, 1, 2, 3, X, Y, Z, but also we've got our vision offering coming up in October, which is months away, but why don't you plan now to bring something significant to keep our vision moving forward? So there's a call for commitment in the rhythm and in the life of our church.
No, really good. Some great nuts and bolts there. I want to, just to finish, whether we just share a few of the successes, the stories that we've encountered from building a Vision Sunday into our calendar, into the life of church. Just some of those things that where we've seen, people grab a hold of the vision, see it move forward.
Well, I think when you think of, I guess we've done this now for over 10 years. And I think Vision Sundays we've done for 15, 16 years. And Vision Offerings we've done for 10, just over 10 years. And I mean, a big success, it gives the church a sense of vision and builds that in. But some practical ones, we moved into the building where we're doing this podcast 9 years ago. And I think a large percentage of that being successful was we'd been setting the vision in the years previously. We want to move, we want to find a building. We even had some plans drawn up for building a building, but then we actually found an already built building that we could move into. And it created that momentum so that when we said, hey, we can move into this building in 6 months' time, the church was ready. The church was ready to give, the church was ready to work. I mean, I just remember volunteer days, like loads of people coming out. We've launched new campuses. We've been able to launch new campuses. So, we've sometimes said, next year or in 2 years' time, we're thinking we'd love to send a team to this place to start a campus. So if I give an example, Derby, we would have mentioned that probably 18 months before we did anything. But what we did, we built a team in one of our services in Chesterfield. So from Vision Sunday said we're going to build a team that are ready so that in 18 months' time they can go to Derby. So we spent some time building a team, and again, people bought into that, people volunteered, and Nathan, you led that.
Yeah.
And I think it was 21 people went with you to Derby.
Yeah, it would have
to
been,
launch
yeah.
that, and by some miracle of God, that campus is still alive, even though Nathan started
still there.
it. Still there, still
We
going.
still believe in miracles.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Again, launch new services, new initiatives, other things in the community, you know, things like mums and toddlers groups, all kinds of things that we've been able to launch, connect groups, youth stuff, even staff. We've even sometimes come to our church and said, we need a vision, we need staff for this. We just can't keep coping with just running it through volunteers, equipment, next steps. There's so many wins over the last 10 years. Like it's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, if 10 years ago somebody had have said through having Vision Sunday, these will be the wins, I'd have thought, no, we won't have that many. But there's more wins than I anticipated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to recognise that it wasn't just that vision. It didn't just happen because we did a Vision Sunday.
Yeah.
A Vision Sunday was a catalyst for it, but it was that continuing of communicating that vision, and that vision. It was that clarity and clarifying.
And that celebration.
This is where
really,
we're
isn't
going.
it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That celebration of that day sort of helps with that.
And repeating it regularly.
Yeah, and just picking up on that, just before we wrap up here, one of the things you said there was regarding the Derby, like that was 18 months.
Yes.
So that's a long period of time in one sense, but it's not really.
No,
and
the leaders were talking about it 2 years before.
Yeah.
And the only reason I pick that up is because sometimes we feel is when we hear from God and you have a vision from God, we think we have to act instantly, like tomorrow, or actually there's something, going back to what we said earlier about properly planning and preparing.
Yeah.
And not rushing, because if it's something of God, then actually we can take our time and do the thing right, and so that then the Vision Sunday really, carries that forward, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that would be an example of one where we said, let's do these steps and launch. Yeah. And we were able to do all these steps and launch. There's been others where we'd still like to do, where we've kind of took 3 steps forward, 2 back, 2 steps forward, 3 back.
Yeah.
But we've still got the vision.
Yeah.
We just haven't found the method yet.
Yeah.
We've tried the thing, but it's just proving to be the thing that ultimately leads to the thing.
Yeah.
It's not the thing.
Yeah.
Very good.
No, really good. It's been great to talk around how to have a great Vision Sunday, and we're going kind of doing 2 parts on vision, and next time we're going to talk about the power of a vision offering. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's already subscribed, watched. Please give us, rate us, however you do that, however you're consuming this content, share it with friends. Just great content to get out there. Let me also encourage you to download the show notes. Many of the notes that have been made, maybe you're listening to this in the gym or on a run, well, those show notes are available for you to grab those and implement those in your church. But it's been great to be together on the Church Explained podcast, and we look forward to seeing you next time as we talk about the power of a vision offering.